The gym was alive with the low hum of machines and murmurs, yet every eye snapped to the circle forming around Bruce Lee and the massive figure towering before him. "You're too small to fight," the bodybuilder barked, chest rising and falling like a piston, each word punctuating the air with the weight of certainty. Bruce's gaze stayed steady, unblinking, measuring the distance as if the room itself had contracted to just the two of them. A weight shifted in the floorboards under the larger man's boots, a subtle tremor unnoticed by all but a few closest witnesses. "What's the matter, little man? Afraid to step up?" The bodybuilder continued, voice echoing off the walls. "Everyone's watching. Don't waste their time." He flexed, the muscles in his forearms tightening, the veins mapping like a road network over steel. Murmurs rose from the edges of the crowd. "He can't. Bruce won't respond. This will end fast." Bruce's lips moved once, almost imperceptibly, a quiet, deliberate, "let's see." Stories say that this exchange, so small yet so loaded, marked the moment when inevitability leaned toward legend. Those present later disagreed on what truly happened next, but the tension, they claimed, was tangible, like a held breath stretching seconds into eternity. "You think you can handle me?" the bodybuilder shouted again, taking a step forward, forcing Bruce to adjust just slightly, the ball of one foot pressing against the floor differently than it had a heartbeat ago. "I've crushed men twice your size," a witness later whispered. "He didn't flinch, not once." Another claimed the silence Bruce held spoke louder than any roar. Each eye in the gym tracked the subtle shifts, the rising doubt, the hint that the massive man might not control this encounter as he believed. "You're frozen, aren't you?" the bodybuilder snapped, laughter bubbling nervously. "Or are you calculating your surrender?" Bruce's head tilted a fraction, a shadow of a smile brushing his features. "Not surrendering," he said softly, almost to himself. "Waiting." And in that pause, stories say the gym itself seemed to hold its breath, the moment crystallizing into a challenge of size against skill, strength against timing, and certainty against what would become legend. "Look at this crowd," the bodybuilder barked, pacing in a wide arc, each step like a drumbeat. They came to see a real fight, not some shadow pretending to be a man. He slammed a fist into his palm, making the floorboards quake slightly. "I've crushed stronger, faster, bigger than you. Do you even know what it takes to stand here?" Bruce shifted his weight once, a tiny adjustment that went almost unnoticed, eyes calm, scanning, calculating. "I'm here," he said softly. "Here? Here to embarrass yourself?" the bodybuilder roared, his voice cutting through the murmurs like a whip. "Everyone's watching. Everyone's waiting to see if the little guy can even blink without breaking." He laughed, a low, menacing sound. "Step up, show me something, or run." Some onlookers whispered to each other. Stories say, debating if Bruce would respond or vanish under the pressure. "He's too calm," one said. "Too small. Does he even feel it?" Another muttered, "I don't think size matters. Not like this." "Don't hide behind stillness," the bodybuilder snapped, spinning to face Bruce directly. "I can see your little tricks, your timing, your stance. Don't think I don't notice." He flexed his shoulders, his shadow swallowing part of the gym. "This is my domain, my rules, my stage." Bruce's lips curved slightly, almost imperceptibly, as he shifted his stance again, one foot tracing a line barely discernible like a whisper of preparation. "We'll see," he replied, measured, precise. "You'll see nothing," the bodybuilder bellowed, stepping forward so fast the air seemed to vibrate around him. "I've fought giants, monsters, champions. Do you think you're different?" Murmurs of anticipation swelled among the crowd, some leaning forward, some holding their breath. Stories say that in that moment, the ego on display was a tangible force, pressing against Bruce's quiet, framing the legend in motion. "I'm not different," Bruce said finally, voice even, almost a shadow against the bodybuilder's roar. "Just ready." "Ready!" the man shouted again, voice cracking slightly with impatience. "You'll wish you weren't." His chest heaved as he stopped pacing, the crowd tensing, each waiting for the inevitable spark. Bruce didn't move, only breathed, only waited, letting the room itself feel the weight of the unspoken challenge. You think you can just stand there and stare at me? The bodybuilder growled, veins bulging along his neck. I've faced men twice your size, and they broke under pressure. What makes you different? He stomped, making the floor vibrate, each footfall a challenge to Bruce's calm. Answer me! Bruce shifted his weight slightly, the ball of his left foot pressing into the floor, almost imperceptible. I'm here, he said quietly. Here, the bodybuilder barked, pacing in a tight circle now, flexing arms that looked like iron bands. Here to die? His voice rose, edged with impatience. I can snap you before you even blink. Tell me, what will you do? A witness murmured to the person beside him. He doesn't even flinch. He's calculating, like he sees the whole fight already. Another whispered. It's like the silence itself is pushing him back. I see your tricks, the bodybuilder shouted, taking a step closer, the distance shrinking, his shadow swallowing the space around Bruce. Your timing, your stance, it won't save you. Bruce's eyes narrowed, a subtle lift of one eyebrow, a breath controlled, measured. Timing matters, he said softly. Timing? The larger man laughed, but the edge in his voice wavered. You think that matters? Strength matters. Mass matters. Size. He threw a heavy swing through the air, not aimed at Bruce, just a display. Can you even stop this? Stories say the gym seemed to hold its breath. Each flex, each word, each minor step Bruce took created a ripple of doubt. Observers later claimed they saw micro-shifts, hesitation in the bodybuilder's pacing, a tightening of shoulders, a quick intake of breath that betrayed impatience. His confidence, once absolute, began to wobble like a tower leaning against a storm. You're too calm, he muttered, almost to himself, then louder. Are you mocking me? Planning something? Bruce adjusted his stance slightly, one foot tracing a line so small it might have been missed, and yet the shift was enough. I'm not mocking, he said, just ready. I've fought men bigger, stronger, men who thought they could stare me down like this. His voice cracked as he spat the words, impatience rolling off him in waves. Step up, show me something. Bruce's eyes remained steady, calm, scanning, measuring. He shifted his weight slightly, a subtle pivot of his right foot, almost imperceptible. Stories say this small movement, barely noticed, began to unbalance the larger man. The bodybuilder lunged forward, arms wide, trying to assert control physically and verbally. I'm in charge here. Do you hear me? I control this space. He stomped again, the floor trembling under his massive frame. You think your tricks matter. You're nothing without your timing, a witness whispered. His shoulders look tight. He's over. He's overreaching. Something's off. Another said, I can feel it, like the air itself shifted against him. Bruce tilted his head slightly, adjusting stance with calm precision, letting the bodybuilder's ego swing past its balance. Careful, he said softly, voice almost drowned by the larger man's roar. Careful? I don't need careful, the bodybuilder barked, taking another step forward, then halting mid-stride as his foot slid slightly on the worn floor. I've never had to adjust. He clenched his jaw, tension visible in every muscle, breath coming short and uneven. I'll crush you. Do you hear me? Bruce shifted just enough to absorb the energy, eyes fixed, muscles relaxed but ready. Stories say that even minimal movement from him made the massive man hesitate, micro moments of doubt creeping into his rhythm, subtle cracks in confidence appearing like fractures along steel. You're too still, the bodybuilder muttered, each word losing its force. I don't like this. I can't read you. He raised an arm and flexed, then dropped it, frustration rippling through every motion. This isn't how it's supposed to go. Bruce's lips curved faintly, the tiniest movement betraying nothing else. It's going, he said, measured. Stories say the gym held its collective breath. Spectators leaning forward, witnessing control shift like water slipping through fingers. One instant the larger man dominated the room with sheer size. The next, hesitation and uncertainty crept in, leaving him exposed. Every step, every pause, every subtle gesture made the encounter feel immediate, mythic, like a spectacle straddling reality and legend. Step up, little man, show me what you've got, the bodybuilder shouted, voice shaking the walls, every muscle coiled like a spring ready to snap. He lunged forward with a force that seemed unstoppable, arms swinging wide, chest heaving, intent on crushing what he considered an inconsequential opponent. "I've fought giants, champions, you'll be nothing." Bruce's eyes never left his target. Stories say that in that instant the world slowed around him, though to those watching it seemed like mere seconds. He shifted his weight imperceptibly onto the ball of his right foot, a subtle tilt of balance no one could measure, a breath arriving late, the bodybuilder's foot placement off just enough. "Not nothing," Bruce whispered, the words almost lost beneath the roar of anticipation. "Not nothing? You're insane," the bodybuilder barked, momentum carrying him forward. "I'll break you before you even know what's happening." Bruce shifted only slightly, just enough to invite the next move that would never come. "It's over," he said quietly, though the word carried no triumph, just fact. The bodybuilder froze, chest heaving, face red, and in that instant silence settled. The gym exhaled collectively. Murmurs began immediately, stories branching in all directions. Some insisted the display was a miracle of skill, others swore it was myth, exaggerated with each retelling. Yet all agreed, unanimously, that the moment was unforgettable, irreversible in its impact, a story that would demand telling long after the walls of the gym fell silent. The bodybuilder staggered back, chest heaving, eyes wild. "No, that wasn't real," he shouted, laughing nervously, the sound breaking into a tremor. "It was a slip, a fluke. You can't do that." He slammed a massive hand into the nearest bench, rattling it, as if proving to himself that gravity and muscle still obeyed him. Bruce remained motionless, arms relaxed, eyes steady. He said nothing, letting the silence settle over the gym like a weight that needed no words. Stories say that the quiet itself became a statement, louder than any roar, heavier than the bodybuilder's attempts at explanation. "You're lucky," the man spat finally, voice shaking. "Lucky, that's all. Don't think this proves anything." A witness murmured, "I think he knows. He just won't admit it." Another whispered, "Did you see that?" Bruce didn't even move after. He let it speak for him. The crowd buzzed with speculation. Some insisted the encounter had never happened. Others swore they saw every detail, every fraction of a second, and yet the story began to grow larger than the facts could contain. "Rematch," the bodybuilder muttered under his breath, pacing a short circle, fingers tapping nervously on his massive thighs. "I'll get another chance. He stopped, noticing the stillness in Bruce's stance. Or maybe not. Not like this. Stories say that in that space between denial and recognition, a subtle, almost imperceptible respect passed between them. Bruce shifted slightly, a nod that might have been missed entirely, but the meaning was clear. The massive man exhaled, tension draining slowly, replaced by something quieter. Awe, frustration, and the first seeds of legend. Rumors began immediately. Some claimed he never lost control, some insisted Bruce's calm was supernatural, and some doubted everything entirely. Bruce moved on, shoulders relaxed, leaving behind a gym filled with whispers, murmurs, and stories that would grow and shift with every retelling. In that blur of spectacle and truth, the encounter began to live as a story both disputed and celebrated, a moment balanced on silence and denied certainty. Stories say the tale grew with each retelling, stretching from whispered corners of gyms to crowded cafes, until it became larger than the men themselves. Some insisted every detail had happened exactly as remembered, others claimed it was symbolic, a lesson wrapped in exaggeration. The truth, they said, hardly mattered. What endured was the image, a small master standing calm, eyes steady, facing a 300-pound giant who had thought nothing could challenge him. "Did it really happen like that?" one voice asked in a dojo years later, tension still lingering in the room. "Or is it just a story to teach humility?" Another replied, "It doesn't matter. Look at what it shows. Skill over size, timing over strength." Those present later claimed the memory never faded. Every pause, every precise movement, every breath held in the moment seemed etched into the minds of witnesses. The bodybuilder's fall from assumed dominance, Bruce's stillness, the subtle shift of weight. It all became emblematic, a living demonstration of control, patience, and inevitability. Stories say that over time, rumor became legend. What began as a disputed encounter transformed into myth, passed down with awe and debate. Even decades later, the lesson remained clear. Size may intimidate, presence may overwhelm, but mastery, silent and exact, commands a respect that echoes far beyond the walls where it was first displayed.